The Wise Woman of the River Part 7. When the river stirs. When the river stirs, the earth remembers. The trees lean in, and every stone begins to hum with stories too ancient to name. It does not rise without reason. It does not whisper without warning. It does not stir unless something sacred is waking. You see, some believe rivers are only water, flowing from one place to another, carving valleys, quenching thirst. But those who know, those who feel, understand this. The river is a keeper of memory, a vessel of voices, a witness to pain and to promise. And now, it is stirring, because silence has gone on too long, because the fire thought it had won, because the bones of the land have begun to ache for healing. This is not just a continuation. It is a reckoning, a return. This is Temple Timeless Tales, where wisdom echoes through generations. Timeless tales, endless wisdom, boundless imagination. And you are entering the part of the story where spirit and soil dance again. Where what was buried comes forth. Where the river sings, not just to be heard, but to be followed. So listen closely. Because when the river stirs, the world does not remain the same. There are stories that knock, that arrive like travelers at dusk, asking for fire and a place to rest. And then, there are stories that rise. Stories that stir like ancient rivers beneath dry earth, whispering to roots, to stones, to spirits that have forgotten their names. This is that kind of story. When the river stirs, the earth listens. The bones remember. And even silence is moved to speak. You have come far to this sacred place in the tale, where fire has danced and water has risen, where the girl became the bridge, and the past has begun to awaken. But listen closely now, closer than before. Because when the river stirs, it does not warn. It summons. And the story continues. The quiet before the shift. The village of Noma did not sleep that night. Not out of fear, but out of something older. Expectation. The kind that settles on rooftops like mist. That fills bellies without food. That turns dreams into echoes. The children had stopped crying. The elders stopped whispering. Even the wind paused, as if it, too, was waiting. And in the stillness, Zina stood by the river's edge, eyes open, palms upward, as if catching the breath of the world itself. The river begins to move. At first, it was a murmur, barely more than a sigh beneath the reeds. Then a pulse, like the heartbeat of something long buried, remembering how to beat. The river stirred. Not violently. Not yet. But with intention. It swirled where it should flow. It rippled though no wind passed. And those who felt it, the girls, the elders, the animals in their pens, they knew. The river was no longer watching. It was rising. The dreamwalkers return. That night, the dreamwalkers returned. Women with veils of smoke across their eyes. Men who had not spoken in years. Children who slept with stones beneath their pillows. They gathered in a circle by the water. And Zina walked among them, not as leader, not as queen, but as memory made flesh. They touched her garment. They whispered songs into her shadow. And when she knelt, the river answered. Its surface shimmered like a mirror cracked by time. And in its reflection, flashes of what was coming. Obaduma's face, pale with dread. Yole chained by her own flame. The village, bathed not in fire, but light. A message from below. From the depths, the water brought gifts. A reed flute. A bone comb. A shattered mask once worn by a warrior priestess. Each item floated to Zina's feet. Each pulsed with memory. Each whispered one word. Prepare. The night that spoke. That night did not pass quietly. It spoke. With the groan of trees bending toward the river. With the hum of stones beneath feet. With drums that no one touched, yet played. And in the center of it all, Zina. Not casting spells. Not calling fire. Just being. And in that being, the river found its voice. The enemy trembles. Far across the valley, Obaduma stirred from sleep. But it was no dream that woke him. It was the sound of something he had buried long ago. Fear. He sent scouts. None returned. He called to Yole. She did not answer. And in the silence, he heard it. The laughter of water. Not cruel. Not kind. But certain. The final whisper before dawn. Just before light touched the horizon, the river offered one final sign. A great heron, white as ash, flew low over the village. It circled 3 times. Then vanished into mist. And everyone understood. The river had awakened. Its spirit was moving. And what it stirred could not be undone. This is not the end. This is the stirring before the storm. The hush before the hymn. The quiet in which ancestors speak through leaves and water and waiting. Zina has heard. The village has heard. Even Obaduma, in his fortress of smoke and fear, has heard. The question is, have you? Because these stories, they choose who listens. They wrap themselves around your bones. They wait in your silence. And if your spirit stirs, even a little, then the river has called you, too. So don't leave just yet. Not when the wind is watching. Not when the fire flickers with memory. Not when the story still walks among us. Like, comment, share, subscribe to Temple Timeless Tales. Because this is more than tale. This is legacy. And legacies must flow. You are listening to Temple Timeless Tales. This is Temple Timeless Tales. And the river has only just begun to rise. You are listening to the wise woman of the river part 7, When the River Stirs from Temple Timeless Tales. The moon had returned, but she did not smile. She rose above Umuola with a bruised glow, like an elder who has seen too much to rejoice. She peered through a gauze of clouds, uncertain, weary, as if even the heavens were holding their breath, because the river had stirred, and the land listened. Unease in the village. There were no cries in the air, no horns, no war drums, yet dread threaded through the soil, like roots remembering a storm. Children paused mid-play, unsure why their hearts raced. A woman dropped her pestle, clutching her chest though she felt no pain. And Zina stood still, her eyes fixed on nothing, yet seeing everything. The ancestors were whispering again. Zina listened. Zina, kneeling, voice trembling, she asked, "What are you trying to tell me?" The river offered no reply. Only repose. Only silence. Only the sensation of something vast, ancient, and uneasy, turning beneath the surface. And in that silence, Zina felt it. The river remembered pain. And pain was waking. A shadow returns. And far beyond Umuola's border, in a shrine the world had forgotten, something once forsaken had found its breath again. Yole had returned. Not as she once was, respected, revered, adorned, but reborn through exile and scorn, with grief hardened into fury, and sorrow steeped in fire. Yole, voice a whisper made of ashes. They replaced me with a girl who barely understands the river's name. But deeper than her bitterness was heartbreak. The ache of being left behind by the very spirits she once served. And that ache, fed by silence, had become a flame no water could soothe. The river spirits gather. The river spirits stirred, fragile lights from another realm. Their whispers reached only those who had been marked. And tonight, their message was not celebration, but warning. Spirit, distant, layered voices. She seeks the fire's heart. If it awakens, the river may bleed. Balance was tipping. The old laws, those that governed earth, water, and soul, were being broken. And Zina, was at the center of it all. Zina's visions intensify. When her hand met the staff, the past, present, and what might be collided. Flames roared through trees. The river boiled. Faces she loved, screaming, melting into smoke. Her own reflection split. Cracked. Gone. Zina, shouting. No. I stopped this. I stopped this already. But the river's memory is long. And it knows. Some storms do not end. They only rest. The spirit drum. Elsewhere, Obaduma woke from a dream soaked in sweat and shadow. The voice of his father rang in his skull. When the drum calls, the earth must answer. And so, with trembling hands, he brought forth the spirit drum, a relic older than the village itself. Its skin, stretched with time. Its beat reserved for moments of reckoning. When the drum sat in the village square, unplayed yet deafening, the people knew. The days of peace had entered their dusk. Mama Ebele's voice returns. In the hush between heartbeats. Beneath a moon that no longer smiled. A voice rose from the wind. Mama Ebele, gentle, yet firm. The river flows, but fire rises. You must decide, my daughter, which one you will be. And though Mama Ebele was long gone, her voice wrapped around Zina like a shawl in the corner. Comforting and urgent. A mother's love can reach beyond death. But even it cannot make the choice for you. They come before the fire. Zina stood before the river. Her staff rooted in soil once fertile. Now tense with memory. The clouds roared like drums. The trees leaned as if listening. The earth waited. This was no ordinary silence. It was the kind that comes before something breaks. Before the sky weeps. Before the fire speaks. And in that silence, Zina heard her destiny call, not with clarity, but with a question. Will you flow? Or will you burn? And so, the river did not roar. It paused. It did not rage. It reached. And in that sacred reaching, Zina found not just the voice of her people. She found the rhythm of the land, the breath of her ancestors, and the strength of what comes after fire. Obaduma heard it too. Not in his ears, but in his bones. For even tyrants tremble when the river stirs. This is no longer just Zina's journey. It belongs to every voice silenced, every child waiting, every grandmother who once sang to the moon and knew its secrets. The river has stirred, and nothing will be the same again. But dear listener, this tale does not end here. No. The storm is still forming. The next wave is rising. And what lies beneath whispers with power. If this story moved something inside you, if the river stirred within your spirit, Don't let it end in silence. Like this tale. Share it with someone who remembers. Comment below, tell us what the river said to you. And if you are a new viewer, subscribe to Temple Timeless Tales. To my returning subscribers, thank you for journeying with me on the story. Because stories like this aren't just entertainment. They are echoes. They are ritual. They are remembrance. And when we remember together, we rise together. Stay tuned for part 8.
Thank you, dear friend, for sharing this time. More tales await, legends sublime. Like, share, subscribe, stay on this ride. Together we'll journey, hearts open wide. With every story and song we embrace, in the warmth of our voices, find your place. Together we'll laugh, together we'll cry. In the rhythm of life, we'll soar high. With each melody, we'll ignite the night. In the harmony of friendship, everything's right. Moments we cherish, memories to hold. Whispers of dreams and stories untold. Through valleys and mountains, side by side. In the dance of existence, we'll take our stride. Every sunset paints a new shade of gold. In the tapestry of time, our bond unfolds. As the stars align, we'll dream anew. In this canvas of life, it's me and you. The chapters rewrote with laughter and tears, echoes of joy through the passing years. With each heartbeat we sink our souls in the book of our lives. Together we're whole. Interlude Mike Eddie, Inferic Jones. Let the music play, let the stories flow. From the sea of emotions we'll continue to grow. With colors of light splashed across the sky. In this journey together, we'll always fly. Together we'll laugh, together we'll cry. In the rhythm of life, we'll soar high. With each melody, we'll ignite the night. In the harmony of friendship, everything's right. Thank you, dear friend, for sharing this time. What tales await, legends sublime. Like, share, subscribe, stay on this ride. Together we'll journey, hearts open wide. More thank you, dear friend, for sharing this time. More tales await, legends sublime. Like, share, subscribe, stay on this ride. Together we'll journey, hearts open wide.